Everybody needs a vision statement. I don't know one organization that does not have one. Why? Because they understand the power of it. If you're connected to your purpose, life is easy.
Hello, agentpreneurs, and welcome back to today's episode of the Daily List Report. As you saw, we have a productivity expert on the show today, Adriana Girdler. She is the founder of Cornerstone Dynamics and a productivity expert. I can't go through all of her bona fides. She's been on every news station. She's cited as Canada's foremost business productivity expert, and boy, can't we all use some productivity tips. While you're here, we've got some new graphics. I'm going to try this out today. First of all, of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It's right down there. Click that little bell so you're notified. And also, we recently set up a new Instagram account, so give me a follow there. We're going to share some little bits and snippets from some of these great guests that we have on. All right, so for Adriana, we got a couple cool things. One is her website right here, Cornerstone Dynamics. All of these links are below, really easy to access. Second, she's got a really thriving YouTube channel. She's putting me to shame, so one day we're going to get to that level. She's got a bunch of great videos there, so please subscribe to her. And a couple other spots or things I want to show. One is the Adriana Girdler that is on Instagram. Give her a follow. She's got a bunch of these tips. It's really nice when these things come in throughout the day and you're like, you know what, I should really do that. I should really silence my notifications or whatever. And lastly, she's got a great TEDx talk that she did. Pay attention to the whisper, tune in, reconnect to your passion, which is a great topic. I actually watched it last night and it's really critical for all of you, right? That's where we want to end up, as she talks about, is where we're really living what our passion is. So that's it. Without further ado, I'm going to bring Adriana on. Adriana, welcome to the show.
Hi, Randy. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, thank you for your time. I appreciate you joining us here and sharing your wisdom with all of our agentpreneurs out there across the country. Adriana, let's start here. I want all of our guests to sort of introduce themselves, get to know you. So why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about, your background and who you are.
Thank you. I always like to say, what's that 30-second elevator speech they always say you have to have? So
That's
what I
right.
do is I help people and organizations do what they do better. So I think that's really important because that's where the productivity comes in. That's where really understanding who you are and what you're all about, which is all connected in our professional world. So I do a lot of work with large organizations, but I also do work with individuals within those large organizations. Again, helping people do what they do to become better and really connect with their purpose, which is really important.
Absolutely. Now that's a great introduction. You're based just outside of Toronto, as we were talking about, which is a great part of the country. Well, great part of your country, and
Yes.
really close to our country, as it turns out, which is awesome. But we have a lot in common.
Yes, we do.
Adriana, I think our first topic today is really this idea of a personal vision statement, right? And I'd love to understand, have you kind of introduce that topic, right? I think a lot of people might be familiar generically with vision statements. We have one as a company, right? So our vision statement as a company is we make buying and selling a home a truly delightful experience. And people attach to that, but not a lot of people have personal ones. Maybe people have done personal vision boards. I don't know if that's part of this exercise, but let's talk a little bit about, from your perspective, what a personal vision statement is and why it's so important.
Thanks. You're absolutely right. I think companies do a really good job of having vision statements because they use it strategically as well. Because a vision statement is a tool. It's a tool that allows you to understand, where do we want to be 10 years from now. And I think there's a real distinction between vision statements and mission statements, because I see this a lot that people get them mixed up. So I just want to give a little definition. What's the difference between the two? Because if we all start off on the same page, it becomes really easy to understand how to label it and what it is that we're trying to accomplish. So I always use JFK. JFK had an amazing vision. His vision and statement was to land a man on the moon by the end of the decade. And he said this, I think in 1961, and return him safely back home. So that's an amazing vision statement. It reaches for the stars. It's, the bar is raised really high. No one's done this yet, even though the Russians and the Americans were kind of duking it out, so to speak, with the space war, trying to see who would be the first one there. But it was a vision, something you can strive for, aspire towards, and really set the bar high so that you're going to achieve something great. Now, mission statements are like the missions. He had multiple missions and every mission that he had was in order to build off of, in essence, to get you to your vision. So it really becomes important that your vision is long term, it's aspirational, it should be motivating. You should wake up and see your vision statement and go, my goodness, that is what I am looking to do. And it keeps you on your path. So that's really important. And that's why companies do a great job with it. And that's why a lot of companies are successful because they know the road that they're going to go down. But a lot of humans, look at me, companies, humans, people,
People like us.
people like us, a lot of people don't. And for some reason, I don't know why people don't feel that they deserve to have a vision statement. We wouldn't look at a new destination without reviewing a Google map or doing our navigation search first, right? We wouldn't just say, oh, I'm going to head east and I have a destination, but I'm not going to figure out how to get there, right? Or even have a high level plan in order to do it. But yeah, we live life like that all the time. And then we get to a certain point and then we're wondering, my goodness, did I waste time in my life? So, vision statements become critical because I'm a firm believer, and this is maybe the productivity person coming out in me. Time is precious. I can never get it back, ever, ever. I can't turn back the clock. So why am I wasting it? Now, I don't want to put pressure on myself to go, oh my goodness, every minute must be spent purposeful. But I also don't want to let it waste. So why don't I use something to help guide me, like my beacon in my night, my northern star, my Google Maps of life, and have a personal vision statement to guide me in what it is that I want to do and allow me to make the yes and no decisions. That's why it's so critical for individuals to have a personal vision statement, because we're bombarded with what I call the white noise of life and we get distracted so easily.
Absolutely. So easily, right? We were just talking about that, right? We were just talking about how I'm listening to an audiobook right now, and I don't listen at 1x, I listen at 1.5 to 1.7, and then something pops in on your phone and it just throws you out of whack, right? And, this is in The Social Dilemma. There's lots of talking going on about this, right, recently, which is these companies engineer these products for attention, right? This is the attention economy, and that's how they make money. I want to touch on something that you said, Adriana, right? Which I think is really important, which is, companies spend time creating vision statements, right? They have some vision for where they want to go. And most individuals that I know simply don't. They don't take the time and the care to do that. And yet, as you talked about, right, would you go somewhere without knowing the destination, right? And Google Maps is a great analogy. I heard you give this, I think, on your TED Talk as well, right? Where if there's, a road closure, it routes you around it, right? If there's traffic, it takes you in a different direction. And I heard this statement recently that I keep repeating this, right? But it says, a strong why will get you through any how. And so my question for you actually is, how closely tied to your vision statement is your why as a person? That why could be money. That why could be, your family. It could be your kids, your spouse, right? Your why is sort of the foundational element. I'm curious to get your take on how those things are connected.
It's extremely connected. And I would say, because you said earlier on, is a visual vision similar to a vision board? And I would say absolutely not. They're actually two different things. And why I say that, the why, why I say that is a vision statement. Let me back up. If you're going to go to your why is connected to who you are, your purpose. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I connected to? What am I supposed to be doing? And that why is really ultimately, as human beings, from a philosophical perspective, we're all looking to connect to. That's that whole purpose. Why I wake up every day. Am I supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or am I just kind of in the flow of life, directionless, rudderless, right? So there's nothing wrong with being in a flow, but at some point we quote unquote wake up. And then that's when we realize, oh my goodness, how much time have I wasted? Or if I would have done this earlier, where would I be today, sort of thing. And so that whole why is a really deep inward aspect. And the reason why I say a vision statement is different than a vision board is a vision board is the white noise of life. Think about it. It's we go to a magazine and we cut things out that we feel really we resonate with. And there's nothing wrong with it, but they tend to be outwardly things like we put a big house, we put a vacation, we do those things. And that's not wrong. Those are great goals to have. But if you're really going to understand why am I here? What's my purpose? How do I connect to it? It's an inward journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an inward journey. It's a, we have to start asking ourselves the hard questions like, what am I doing things because I should be doing them? And I always say should is like shitting on yourself, right? Because we're constantly am I being told to do something and therefore I'm just going with the flow of society with my family? Or is this really what I want to do? Should, should I be looking at other things, right? But then we put a negative connotation with these shoulds when we really ought is the magic word, ought. Ought I be looking at something else that I really resonate with? Turning off the noise around us and really connecting to who we are. And in the society we live in today where we don't value the amount of time given to doing the inward connection, because that takes a lot of courage. That takes a lot of strength. That takes a lot of patience. It takes reflection. And it takes, the truth, because you may go inward and realize I've been down a path in a relationship, perhaps pursuing something because I thought I should be pursuing it. I was told I should be pursuing it. I bought into the story I should be pursuing it. And what if everything I did is wrong? So we get so afraid of that because our fears are so powerful. But if we take a step back, that may be true, but it may not. And it's a fear. And then I find 9 times out of 10, the fear we have of, oh my goodness, if I go deep and I actually look inward to my purpose and really truly connect with it, ironically enough, we actually probably do connect with some of those elements. And if there's something we're not connecting with, then we should honor ourselves and really take a look at that and really see whether or not we want to continue with it or not. And a lot of people are afraid to do that. They put in a lot of barriers.
Sure,
Right?
absolutely.
And a lot of barriers.
I think, Adriana, one of the things that you said, I think in that TED Talk is, and please forgive me if I butcher this, right? That in a sense, right, our job, if you will, right now is to find that purpose and to go after it, right? And the sooner we identify our purpose in life, the better off we're going to be because we get to spend more time pursuing it. So when you talk about the fear of uncovering it, like what if I've spent the last X years of my life sort of doing the wrong thing, so to speak? In other words, not something that's attached to my purpose, then part of the mindset I think should be, man, then boy, don't I want to figure it out as soon as possible so I can spend the rest of my life in pursuit of what my purpose is, because that's where I'm going to be the happiest.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think a lot of people feel there's this like black, white, yes, no, yin, yang. It's like you have to do these extremes. Oh my goodness, I'm not totally my purpose, so I got to quit everything and go over here. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I always say there's 3 responses to things. There's a yes, I'm gonna go with it. No, I'm not going to go with it. And the third one is, yes, I know I need to go in that direction, but I'm not just ready yet.
Right.
And so that's an important one to hold on to because look, life can have a lot of complexities, right? Life can have a lot of complexities. Those complexities could be you have a family, you have a home, a mortgage, responsibilities, all that outwardly stuff. I would never say to anyone, oh my goodness, you just found out what your vision is, your purpose, you're on the wrong path, dump it all and head over here. No, that becomes cult-like, right? Like don't ever, if you can do that and you want to do that and the impact, because you have to be considerate of your responsibilities, is not going to be extreme for everybody, well, then by all means, go for it. But, the fear is just that is, oh my goodness, now I have to leave it all and move in this other direction. And what if it's still the wrong direction? So it's important to realize that, you can do things with baby steps. You can make shifts of change. You don't have to do it all at once. And even just the acknowledgement of something can be really huge from an enlightenment perspective. And then all of a sudden you see it because now you're really open to it, right? You're just
Hmm.
really open to it because you are now connected. And what was always in front of you, but you were closed off to, you're now seeing. And then you can take those baby steps to things, or you can take giant leaps. It's really up to every individual, and really looking at, the other responsibilities you have in your
Yeah,
life, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Adriana, you said something there that it's extremely important, and I want to make sure that people understand this, is that we put blinders on in ways that we don't realize. And what you just
Yeah.
said there is critically important, because once your eyes are open to something, you see things that were always right there in front of you that you never saw before. And it's such a powerful, wonderful feeling. And I want to make one other note, Adriana, for people listening right now who are like, psychobabble, BS, right? I will tell you that the most successful people that I talk to, and pretty much all I do on this show is talk to successful people, they have some version or some form of this. They've thought deeply
Yeah.
about their purpose. They've thought deeply about their why. And Adriana, if you don't mind just pointing to your walls, you've got your personal
Yeah.
vision statement and your company vision statement right there next
I'm
to you.
Yeah, so here we go. I have little inspiration things too, but this here, I'll do this. How's
That
that?
works.
That here is my personal vision statement. And I also have behind me my corporate vision statement for Cornerstone Dynamics. So I'm a big believer in, and let me even back up. You said that there's a lot of successful people. Absolutely. You need to have an understanding of your why. Why do I exist? What is my purpose? Why am I here, and how am I supposed to go about doing it? That's where the strategies and goals come into play. And you bounce off of this stuff, but in order to create this, you really have to be tuned inwardly. And you'll notice with mine, I have a lovely statement here: to be authentic in everything I do by honoring and empowering myself and respecting and listening to those around me through love and guidance. And I have, this is why I prefer the vision statement with the visuals associated with it, because when you do the work around it, you start to categorize things. You can look at things from a family perspective, from a professional perspective. You can look at things from a spiritual perspective, from a friendship perspective, and every single one of these images become really important because they guide you. And I do a lot of research because of the work that I do. It's like, okay, how do you, I have to prove to people that here's a productivity tip and technique, and here's a research behind it that shows, how important it is. And it's the same thing with this. Illustrations, most of individuals are visual learners. And as a visual learner, we actually process through our eyes information so much faster than the written word. And so that's why, by understanding your vision statement and translating that into a visual, but the really something substantial and of importance, it really can be your guide in life and a tool to help you make decisions, always steering you towards ultimately where you want to go, where you ultimately want to end up. Like, all of this stuff represents a lot of things, and I've already accomplished quite a few of them, but there's another layer on top of it. So like for this one, I do tons of speaking engagements. I'm a keynote speaker. I do all of that stuff. I do it in North America, but I want to be global. I want to be international,
Yeah.
international one. Now, when I created this vision statement, I did none of that, right? And I was like, oh my goodness, how do I have to start? So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
guided me in the journey. And then it was in my area, it was regionally, and then it came to Canada, and then, moving in North America. And then now I'm looking at the global stage. So it all is this
I love that.
unfolding, but I'm very clear, and it's all those stages and stepping stones, but I'm very clear with who I am and what I'm meant to do. And it really keeps me on the straight and narrow, because I get opportunities given to me all the time. Not every opportunity I'm supposed to pursue.
And because you have a measuring stick, so to speak, if those
Yeah.
opportunities are aligned with your vision, right? That's part
Yeah.
of the
And
benefit.
absolutely. And your vision is also your values. I talk about core values too. Your core values are a representation. your line in the sand of who you are. And that's something that's really important because it is the honoring of yourself to say, hey, here's who I am. You can have tons of core values because you got to live them 24/7. You cannot live them when they're convenient. And I see too often people living values conveniently,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's
So
right.
you pick 1 to 3, something that you can really 24/7 live with.
Yeah.
And it's a representation who you are. And it's your line in the sand in life and in interaction with others and your own behavior. And once you really understand what those core values are, along with your vision statement, they become two powerful tools that help guide you in what we call, life, which can be sometimes confusing and, which path we go down. I don't have a magic, ball to tell you where to go, but I'm very clear and I know this is the road I need to take because it's all aligned with my values and my
Absolutely.
vision. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Adriana, I think we've established sort of what it is and why it's so important. Let's now
Mhm.
jump to how does somebody do this? So people are watching like, okay, I'm in,
Okay.
Adriana. I'm going to do this.
Well,
How do you create a personal vision statement?
I actually have a workbook that takes everybody through it. But when COVID came about, and I'm not selling this because I actually took this workbook and I created a 2-part free series on my YouTube channel, basically going through the workbook for free
Nice.
and teaching because I really felt when COVID hit, and this was in the beginning stages, like the first 3 to 4 weeks. Um, I was like, you know what a great opportunity when we have this kind of downtime and people were, companies were still, okay, we're not too sure what we're going to do. People who still had a job were working. And even if you didn't, I thought, what a great opportunity to kind of evaluate who you are and really get connected to your purpose. So I created a 2-part, it's under my playlist Visioning. So you'll see it, part 1, part 2, it's free. I highly recommend everyone take a look at it. It actually, you're supposed to start and stop it. So I walk you through it. There's usually a reflection period, so you can do the exercises. I highly, highly recommend that you do that. Everybody needs a vision statement. I don't know one organization that does not have one.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they understand the power of it. Organizations, and I work with companies all the time, major global companies. Look, strategy is really important. Ultimately, the role of the organization and the private sector, particularly, is profitability, right? They want to make their profits, they want to grow the organization, they want to offer more products and services, really, ultimately, to do what it is that they're looking to do. And their vision is the huge guide that helps them when they do their strategic sessions every year to go, what's our strategy? What's our objective? What's our goal? Now let's break it down to the tactical elements and items. And that's why when I'm like, why wouldn't you do this for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you do this for yourself? It's a proven tool and technique, but now it's just slightly different because I take it to a point where I make people think a little bit deeper. So it's not about the vision board where it's like, oh, take a picture of this big house you want. In my opinion, if you're connected to your purpose, life is easy. It flows. Everything, it feels like you're floating downstream, not upstream. Things just come to you, things are open because you see it, because you're connected. There's something really powerful there. And it's kind of like quantum physics. There's a connectivity to everything, everything has a vibration to it. So it's just understanding and being connected to that correct vibration, as we're told in physics, right? Physics and quantum physics. Everything has that. So if we're not aligned, then we're not vibrating at the right level. And if we are aligned, we are. So we start to attract. That's why you hear, law of attraction. You hear what we say is what you get, and it's all very true. So I don't think people realize how powerful they actually are if they just start looking more inward and connecting and really watch the words that they use. Look how powerful words are.
Yeah.
Words are really powerful. They can convince yourself and people around you. And so why not use the right words that are going to connect you? But I always say, whatever you choose to do, do it in a respectful, compassionate fashion
Mm.
because
Absolutely.
your actions are so important and it's not at the expense of other people. It's to be and ensure that other people have the same opportunity like you.
Yeah, absolutely. Adriana,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. And we'll include those links again for those of you watching
Yeah.
right now below, right? Because it is an exercise. It's going to take a little bit
It
of
is an
time.
exercise.
Not a
Yeah.
lot of time, but it's going to take some time. And I saw that video where you have that like pause button. You're like, pause the video here and
Pause
write
it.
these things down. Play, pause, and she'll take you through that exercise. So definitely check that out. I
Yeah.
really like what you said. If you're connected to your purpose, life is easy. And I completely agree with that, right? I feel very connected to my purpose as an entrepreneur, as a guardian to my employees and the changes that we're trying to make, to this real estate industry, right? For all of our
Yeah.
agents out there. And that's my purpose in life. And, even this show, right, has become a part of my purpose because this is about impact. And I'll share something with you that just happened a couple days ago, Adriana, which is I interviewed a top agent, and an agent who was watching the show wrote in and said, to him in this case, and then she shared it with me. She said, I was about to leave the industry. I was looking for jobs, and I don't want to do that because I think this is my purpose, right? And you've inspired me, right? And she ended it with, you may have just saved my career. And that
Oh,
impact that's my
awesome.
purpose, is impact, right? And that's
Yeah.
what drives me in everything that I do, is about that. And so it feels easy, when, like you said, when you're connected to your purpose. I love what I do. And, anyways, I could go on and on, but I will stop.
I totally get it because I love what I do as well.
Yes, yes. And what
And
a
yeah.
wonderful place to be, to feel like you get to spend the rest of your life doing what you were put here to do, right? There's
Yeah.
no better feeling than that alignment. Adriana, this is a great introduction to the topic. I hope everybody watching is going to race and get their personal vision statements done. Are there any sort of parting words of wisdom or final thoughts you want to share with our agents? If you can believe it, we've been talking for almost 30 minutes. It's crazy.
Have we
Time
really?
flies.
Wow. Oh my goodness. It felt like five.
Didn't it?
Yeah. You know what? Look, I'm going to talk to the pragmatic individuals out there. If you're looking to succeed in this profession or any profession, then you need to have an idea as to what is it that you want to do. Where is it you want to go? What is the vision? So, just for that alone, knowing that successful organizations do this, every individual needs to have their own personal vision statement. It's going to streamline things for you. It's just going to make your life easier when it comes to making decisions, which is going to allow you to spend more time doing what you need to do if, in order to get that paycheck coming in and increase whatever profitability you want to have. Um, there is work behind it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There is, because you have to go inward, but it's worth it because once you do it, the powerful insight information that you get about yourself is never going to go away, and it's only going to
Absolutely.
benefit you. So to me, that's a no-brainer, and it's something that I have control over. So why wouldn't I do that? Those
I
are my
couldn't
parting
agree
words.
more. And you said something important there, which is we have control over it. And
Yeah.
that is an empowering, wonderful thought when you embrace that idea, right? There's so much in this world that we don't have control of, but this is something that we have control over. Adriana, thank you
Absolutely.
so much for being here today, for sharing all of this amazing information. I'm going to have you back on if you're open to it because there's a lot more that we can talk about.
Oh my goodness, there's so much more we can talk about. I mean, outside of visioning, even.
That's right, exactly. Well, for today, why don't you say goodbye to all of our agentpreneurs out there?
Bye bye. Thank you so much for staying and listening to the end. Woohoo!
Absolutely. Thanks, Adriana. All right,
You're
well, there you
welcome.
have it. Really enjoyed today's show and having Adriana on. Again, all of her links are below. Definitely check that out. I love what she said. If you're connected to your purpose, life is easy. I can attest to that. It is absolutely the case. And I can also attest, as I said, to the fact that the most successful people that I talk to, the people in your industry, your peers who are crushing it in real estate, they understand these concepts. So take the time to do this. It's absolutely worthwhile. And the sooner you can get alignment with your purpose and what you do every day, the better off you're going to be. So that's it for today. Until tomorrow, be safe, be healthy, be happy. We'll see you soon.